Cool. Driving Culture 4, this is Hypebeast Radio. Today we're sitting down with Trevor Andrew, also known as Trouble Andrew, but I would think best known as GucciGhost to our audience. Trevor, how's it going?
Good. Yeah, welcome over to the work spot.
Cool. So for those that are listening and, obviously can't take in just the atmosphere here, could you just describe where we're sitting?
Basically, this is my everyday workspace where I paint, make all kinds of stuff, films, collaborate with different people. It's just kind of like you're kind of sitting inside of my mind a little bit.
Yeah. And I've actually been here before, and I would say like last time I was in here, there wasn't this much art.
Right.
Like, you've been like quite at work lately.
Yeah, it's crazy because there was a whole bunch of stuff that was moved out of here yesterday. So it's like constantly there's all kinds of stuff going on in here. Peeling the layers back and just kind of even rediscovering works that I did that I forgot about. And, because it's been, just a lot of this stuff is, from the beginning of the GucciGhost project. So up till now, really.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like that's a good place to start because, before you were GucciGhost, you were Trouble Andrew. And then before you were Trouble Andrew, you actually were snowboarding. Mm-hmm. So, like, could you tell us, like, just your story of how you got to where you are now?
Well, I guess, skateboarding has probably been my entry to everything cool, I would say, since I was lucky because I had a couple older dudes around when I was young that like really schooled me on just, rare music and just a whole different skateboarding kind of just introduced me to a whole different viewpoint. And so I discovered art and music and film and just a whole different way of thinking. And I think that, led me to snowboarding just naturally because I was living in Canada. I grew up in Nova Scotia. Seasons when my mom worked at the ski hill, so I would just go there and every day after school, and then eventually just started like dipping out, and that snowboarding took me around the world, and it became my profession. Started competing and stuff, and then that introduced me to the world, but it also introduced me to the process of like making stuff and having my own signature snowboards and clothing and accessories and these things. So I was just involved in the creative side and having dreams of things and just making them because I had the freedom to do it because I had relationships with brands. Like, so because of the just the natural course of snowboarding being again more of an extension from skateboarding, which is like an art form, martial art, and just so much stuff tied to it. So, and then, I ended up in New York 16 years ago, and GucciGhost actually started really kind of it almost started as a music project first. I released this EP called GucciGhost, and then I started drawing the figure, and then it just kind of evolved, just then the Halloween came up and I did the Halloween costume, and then it was just like I just kind of felt how people responded to even just the idea of a simple drawing of a ghost with the Gucci print. So and then that that idea kind of grew out here and in these workspaces, and just applied it to so many different mediums, like from music to film and fashion, art, painting, like just
yeah. So why Gucci? What did you have like a special connection with the brand growing up?
Not really. I think Gucci to me like represented more of like I just kind of was more of a language, and it was, I guess, something that I was very familiar with from a distance in a sense, where it's like, if I came to New York and I could come up, even if I got like a fake Gucci hat or something, I'd be hyped just to have that because of how it felt, I guess, to have that. And I think that when it came to painting it and just creating my own, almost like really just turning objects that were in a sense like not so much valued or kind of like giving value just by using the brand. So I guess I don't know, it was just an immediate thing. It was like the first designer piece that I ever bought. When I actually got some, like, I won a snowboard contest and I had a little money and I like went and bought a Gucci watch. I just did. I don't know. Maybe it's just because throughout my life, just seeing, like, I guess I just saw it so much. I don't know.
Do you think it was like a way for you to feel like, all right, I just won my first snowboarding contest. I feel successful. Like this is my award for that.
Oh, of course, definitely. I mean, I still have the watch. It was like a moment in my life that was really a pinnacle moment in my snowboard career, and it was the first time that I could actually do that. So it was really a proud moment. So I think that just having that brand logo displayed, where it's like just right out there, just saying I got this. That's what I guess I thought was fresh.
Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned, you were creating things while you were snowboarding. When exactly did you start, doing art? Were you doing that your whole life?
I mean, yeah, I think I've just been doing it my whole life. I remember when I was really young, I was just even into just like my mom would just give me big rolls of paper and I would just draw or skateboard or listen to music. That was kind of, or watch skate videos. That's like kind of all I've. And then I kind of stopped doing it for a long time, really. And then I think through, the snowboard part, like getting, at points drawing again, or doing collage or like doing design, just being creative in a different way, was fun. And then I think I just always am experimenting, and jumping from one thing to another, because it's more fun that way, I guess, and I don't get bored as fast.
Yeah. I mean, how, just touching on that, like, how is that, like, jumping from one thing to another? Because it's like you were doing snowboarding, you've also dabbled in music, which you still do music, and now it's like you're GucciGhost, and that's how everyone knows you.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I just keep doing what I do, and I'm still, like, making music, and I'm still making little films and videos, and I think that that's all a big part of it. And I think that the show that I'm about to do, September 5th at Milk in New York, is kind of about that. It's really about sharing I think a lot of stuff that people never have seen, or, they may have heard, obviously, or seen GucciGhost stuff because it was in, because it launched with Gucci. So everybody saw it. But I don't think that they may have heard like, oh, he's a graffiti artist or this and that, which I don't even really consider myself a graffiti artist at all. But I think this is a moment for people to experience like the actual process and the real, some of the objects and paintings and samples that were, like where the collaboration came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned you don't think of yourself as a graffiti artist. What would you consider your art to be?
I don't know. I mean, it's definitely like I love graffiti and it's raw, and I definitely I don't know, because I think of graffiti artists more like I have friends that are real graffiti artists and they're out there and they really live that and they're getting up every day and they're doing that. I've never, I'm not like really like out there getting up in the street. You know what I'm saying? Like most of the creating that I've done has been in these spaces like this, like, where it's just, painting. Sometimes I use spray paint, but like,
Yeah. How does it feel to be like, representing your friends that do graffiti work, on such a big platform, given your Gucci collaboration?
I guess, yeah, again, if I didn't really think that I was, I mean, I don't know if I am representing them, because like I said, I don't think that I am a graffiti artist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
But I definitely, yeah, I mean, I got mad love for that culture, and you know, there's you know, but like, yeah, I'm not like out in the streets getting busy. You know, it's like,
Well, yeah, I mean, I say that to say this because it's like, your approach to art, it does have like, that street element to it. A lot
right,
of people in street culture do find that,
for
they're able to
sure.
relate to it. The spray paint, it's a little messy. The words, the phrases that you're using, they're very subversive. And it's like, you get the opportunity to work with a high fashion brand that normally doesn't, venture into that lane.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that, like, giving Gucci like a whole facelift and bringing them kind of into the street culture.
Right. Oh yeah, and I think that I think it's definitely okay in that sense for sure. Definitely, it's just about yeah, just doing things differently, and I think that this has been a special moment for everybody. I think it's a special time because it's like, you know, it gives artists more opportunity to be artists because you can survive to be an artist by doing a collaboration and being yourself. Like so I think that yeah, that's great.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go ahead and go to the collaboration. Like, how did that come about? So you're snowboarding, you moved to New York, you began doing music, you did the Gucci Ghost project. Then for Halloween, you wore a costume, and that kind of like birthed the whole Gucci Ghost thing and then inspired all the art. When did you get first approached by Gucci?
I got approached by Gucci last January. It was like the 3rd, I think. They reached me through a friend of mine, Ari Mercopoulos, who's a photographer who I've known for years. Actually, from my snowboarding days, we did some shoots together, and so we've just come across. And randomly that night that I did the Halloween costume thing, I ran into him at a party and like reconnected with him in New York, and I hadn't seen him in a while, and it's just funny how he's like kind of come in my life at these pinnacle moments. But so he got commissioned by Gucci to do their lookbook last year, and so when he was over there, since he just was aware of what I've been doing because we were back in touch, and so he showed Alessandro, some photos and some videos of just over here at the studio and some of the stuff that was going on. And so yeah, they called me and were like, yo, can you come to Rome? We want to do a collaboration with you. So I went over there, and I basically brought like my studio over there. I brought all these canvases and like suitcases of all these jackets and samples and paintings and just like bags, all this shit that I've been making. And so I just came prepared, hard drives, and and then, because I really didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't know if I was going to do a print, or I don't think they knew either. But I showed up with a lot of work, and then it was just like working with Alessandro was so easy because once we had these ideas, it kind of like broke the ice, and then it was just, we just started, he's just started building on some of my ideas, and I started making new stuff,
Yeah, talk about, like the wording that was used for like, the collaboration, like real. Life is real. Like, what was your approach? What was your like, your ideology behind that?
Well, I mean, really, I think just with this project, I mean, there's a couple different ways you could look at it, but really for me, when I painted that bag and I put real on it, that was, after that was like the first day I was at Gucci office in Rome, and that was like 3 years after I had been working on this project, like I said, across so many different mediums, and just really just going in on this idea of Gucci Ghost and how far that could go. And so once, I was at the Gucci office, putting real on it just made so much sense because it was real at that moment where it was like, for all those 3 years previous to that, like, people like, why are you doing this? Like, Gucci's never gonna fuck with you. Like, what's the point? You're just gonna get sued. You're gonna like, whatever. Just you know, a lot of people didn't get it. I mean, it was both. That's what was intriguing to me, and that's why I kept doing it. But I just believed that it was real, and I was like, no, this is dope. Yeah, maybe it will never happen, but they should do it. And I always felt like that, and I just felt like it was a matter of just, you know, like making that connection. And in 2017, it's kind of easier to make that connection because of just, I guess, the internet, you know, and you could be like anywhere and connect with a brand. So that's what was kind of, or a person, you know. So it was like, but in this case, I at a certain point, you know, I didn't start it with the intention like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get Gucci. Once I started doing it, I was like, oh, they should do this. But you know, and especially once I started applying that formula to clothing, and then it was just, you know, so yeah, once I was there, I was just like, it's real, you know. So I put it on the bag. So
Yeah, definitely. So you're there, you're working with Alessandro. The collection comes out.
yeah.
What was the first thing you got? Because once you won the snowboard contest, you got a Gucci watch. What was the
Right.
first thing that you bought after you did this?
I didn't buy it, but I got like a bunch of Gucci stuff, like
Yeah.
all the stuff I made for the first collection,
Mm-hmm.
and the fur coat with the diamond on it.
Yeah.
That was like, I guess that was that moment. I guess the fur coat is the moment of the watch, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I mean, you know, you of course you felt accomplished. You went from people telling you like, you know, this may not work, you're gonna get sued, to working with like, you know, the actual fashion house, to
Right.
them taking, you know, your artwork and then infusing that into like, you know, their brand heritage and coming out with a collection,
Right.
and then it comes out, and then you go on tour. So how was that? Like, you know, snowboarding first took you around the world. Now Gucci's taking you around the world.
Yeah, and well, I mean, yeah, I think just traveling and keeping that flow going has always been my mission with anything. Like, I've always enjoyed that art has brought me places, whether it was, you know, yeah, snowboarding or skateboarding or music or, you know, making a video or whatever, like just staying out and about. So like, you know, obviously doing this with Gucci and doing the you know, tour with Gucci is like a whole different level of,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's
Yeah.
like I never toured like yeah, being on a Gucci tour. It's a whole different kind of touring
What were some of your
experience.
most like, you know, memorable moments from the tour?
Um Man, there was so many special moments. Just uh I mean, New York, the New York one was the first launch, and just to have like, you know, all my friends there that had been there helping and been there along the way, and like, you know, just to see everybody's first reaction to the collaboration, that was a special moment because it was, you know, the world hadn't even seen any of the stuff yet. So it was like, it was great to, you know, have that moment and to see even how, you know, like for us to celebrate, but also to, you know, I think it's been a fun moment for everybody, like just to see even how the employees and the people that are working at the shops and just, you know, all the staff at Gucci, it's just been so fun. Like everybody's just really had a good time. And I think that that's really what the project represents. You know, it's more of like, so, you know, it's been like, yeah, ridiculous. Like the whole experience has been, and it just keeps kind of going, you know?
Yeah. So let's take it back to the store launch, because you guys took over the store, right? Like you
Yeah.
did painting on the outside of that.
Yeah.
Like how was that?
That was crazy. It was like, I mean, yeah, we did that like all around the world. I mean, we went to, you know, China as well and like did a whole building, and like just to be able to legally put art up on a big space is dope, you know?
Yeah.
Cause yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because like, you know, with graffiti, like that's normally something that you have to do on the fly. Like you, if you get caught with it, you know, it's not a good look. But it's like this time, it's like they're embracing it. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like it's finally being like, you know, looked at as art.
Yeah, of course. Then that's great because it is. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I mean, everybody's just got to look in different directions always. You know, you got to we got to just always grow. So I think that it's just a matter of time, and there's always been this kind of sharing on both sides. I think so, um, or maybe not even sharing, but now it's like maybe. But yeah, it's man, it's like yeah, it's been.
I mean, you bring up a good point, because I feel like, the high fashion industry is becoming more accepting of, like, elements of street art and street culture.
Right.
Similarly to how, like, street culture kind of, like, was very accepting to skateboarding,
Right.
which you were able to, like, kind of witness as well, being like a skateboarder and seeing like how that has become, like, kind of like synonymous with streetwear. And it's like today high fashion is being like more embracive, like, towards street culture as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, the world's just getting smaller, you know. So, but yeah, it's like, I mean, it's just, yeah. I think even I was just thinking about when you said videos, like just even when I was living out in Nova Scotia, like even the influence that you get just from like watching a skate video every day that's like filmed in New York or filmed in California or filmed in like wherever, it's like and that's what's I used to just watch these things religiously, and now like with the internet you can just be influenced so rapidly, you know what I mean? And it's just like, so that's why I love traveling. But yeah, thankfully we have the internet when we're stuck here, you know.
Yeah, so that brings up a good point, because from our perspective, it's like you do this collaboration with Gucci, and then your clothing is being broadcasted on social media platforms. Everybody's seeing it everywhere. Then how does it get around to 2 Chainz seeing it and then wanting to work with you for his mixtape?
That was just because I think obviously, yeah, he probably heard of me through the Gucci thing, because he's into brands and stuff, and so I posted a photo. He must have been following me. I didn't know, and then I posted this photo, and then he DM'd me like, "Yo, call me." So I called him, and he was like, "We got to do this album cover, and I'll fly out to New York tomorrow. I'll come over to your spot and hang out." And so he did, and then so we just vibed, and he played me the record, and then we just started, throwing ideas around, and so now I just, and that was great. It was super fun. It was just another like great moment in the story, because it was just like, I mean, come on, 2 Chainz, like.
Yeah. What's your favorite record off of the project?
I like the intro, Saturday Night. Yeah. I really love that. But I mean, the whole record's crazy. Yeah, I mean that's definitely my joint though, like, for sure.
Cool. So not only did you, like, do the artwork for it, but you guys did a pop-up as well, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. How was that, like, kind of creating like a whole new world with, like, 2 Chainz?
Right. No, that was super fun. And I just really, while we were hanging out, we were just talking and listening to the record and just talking about it. I'm like, yo, you should really, like, do the first thing as like an art show, because we're working together on this and we're making stuff, but also you're a fine artist. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should, like, I look at, you know what I mean? So I thought it'd be interesting to do that. So we built out on that idea, and then yeah, it was fun. I didn't get into it, but it was it got like shut down before it like happened.
So yeah, all right. So the project with 2 Chainz, it releases, and you're thinking, what's next? Were you already working on this Milk Studios art show this whole time?
Yeah, I was kind of simultaneously doing that. I mean, that's what I'm just jumping from one thing to the other. When I was out in LA, I was working on this record, and yeah, so it's just been, I've been bouncing around from project to project, just as I always do, and yeah, I got a couple other things cooking right now, and but yeah, no, that was really fun. Like, and it's great to even just still see it all the time. Like, I see it all the time. So
Right.
um,
Yeah. So you know, let's talk about the art show coming up. It's going to be September 5th.
yep,
Is the reception, Milk Studios, and
yep,
then it's going to live until mid-September.
yeah. I
Cool.
think it's up for like 3 weeks or something.
And is this your first art show?
Um, I guess in the sense of this project and this being like it. Yeah, I mean, not really, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like, it just depends how you look at. But I feel like I've done lots of different kind of shows in a way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Instagram's like an art show every day anyway. Anytime you post something on there or something, it's like, you know, so you can fit more people on Instagram than you can in an art show anyway. But I don't know. Yeah, I think it'll be. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna. I'm excited just to do this so that I can share this kind of like part of the work that, like, if you look at stuff, you'd be like, oh yeah, I saw that was on the sweater, and like a lot of these things have been extracted from these paintings and become parts of, you know, what we've been seeing with the collaboration with Gucci. So it's like, you know, a different way to experience that work rather than direct fashion, because we're seeing, obviously we're doing that, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, so
Yeah. With GucciGhost, it sounds like, you know, you relate to it as being it, like, you know, a moment in your life. Do you feel like you'll ever, like with art, do you think you'll return back to your name, like Trevor Andrew, and then present your art that way? Or when you're doing art, it's GucciGhost. When you're doing music, it's Trouble Andrew.
no, I mean, I'm always just Trevor Andrew. I mean, even this show is like Trevor Andrew, or, you know, like some people call me Trouble Andrew, and that's my Instagram or my social media handle or whatever. But like, I mean, GucciGhost is like just, I mean, it's just another thing. It's just how you know me. You know what I mean? I got all kinds of AKAs. You know what I mean? But like, being an artist is just something that I am, and this is something that I do. That's like a project that I started. But I mean, I'll always just be referred to as me, Trevor. I think, or like as I mean, I don't introduce myself as GucciGhost or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So cool. So I mean, in closing, I feel a good way that we like to end the show is, like, you know, people and they're very respectable, very well noted in our community, giving advice to people that are coming up.
Right.
I think, like, you know, you would have like a lot of great insight to give to people that are like bouncing between different mediums of creativity.
Right.
And then how to stay with it. So I just wanted to see if you have like any words that you can give to people that are going through the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, just I think for me, it's just always just about like really finding something that, you know, if you are, don't force stuff, but like, I mean, you got to force yourself to put in the work, but I think that, you know, just like finding what you're truly, you know, into, and once you're in that zone, just like, you got to kind of like really commit. And because I've seen so many people around me forever that I look at as more talented than me, that like, but they don't have the ability to like believe in that talent. You know what I mean? So they give up because, you know, their parents or their teachers or whoever has like made them believe or broken them down enough that they're like, oh, I can't, like, fuck it, it's not realistic. Like, I gotta do like what everybody else is telling me to do. And then they stop. And it sucks because, like, that's really the only thing getting in the way of it actually happening, is just the ability to, like, commit and follow through and believe that it's real, you know? And that's really, in a large part, what the GucciGhost project represents, is just making it real, you know? And starting with basically, you know, at zero, and, like, you know, making something out of that. And I think that just really largely is based on just believing that it's real. You know what I mean? And it's like, so I think that, just committing and not like listening to like the naysayers and obviously you got to be like, I don't know, maybe I was going to say you can't be delusional, but a little bit, you kind of have to, you kind of just have to just, I don't know, just keep pushing.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that, like, the ones that are kind of delusional are the ones that don't pursue it? Like you have a dream, it's tangible. You got to believe that it's tangible, and if you don't pursue it, then it's like kind of almost crazy in that sense because it's like
totally, exactly. That's exactly it. And but yeah, on the creative side of things, like you just gotta just follow your vision and I don't know. That's a bit like. That's all I can say about it. That's all I've done. I just believe that it's real. I've been lucky enough that I have the ability to like do something and go, this is real. This is, enough to, be able to continue to do it. And that's what's real to me, is just to be able to continue to be an artist and just make whatever I feel like making, So that's the goal, whether it's clothes or shoes or paintings or films or music or like whatever. I don't even know what it's like, who knows what's next, but just to keep making shit is my goal.
Trevor, thank you for being on the podcast.
Yeah, no, thanks a lot for having me.